Just to be whoever you are is no disgrace. Don't be scared if you don't fit in. Look who's in the reject bin. It's the Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Made him perfectly. So if you got a bump on your nose or lumps on your toes, do not despair. Be like the Raggy Dolls and say I just don't care. 'Cause Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls are happy just to be Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, dolls like you and me.
It was very early in the morning, and the Raggy Dolls were hard at work. They were helping their old friend Hercules the cart horse get ready for the Royal County Show. Rupert the Roo kept bouncing up and down, brushing the bits the others couldn't reach. "Fair dinkum," he kept saying. "What does that mean?" demanded Sad Sack, curious to know. "It means sort of smart, well turned out," explained the kangaroo. "Well, I think Hercules looks very elegant," said Princess. "And fair dinkum." Outside, they could hear the horsebox being opened up. Of course, being hard of hearing, old Hercules was none the wiser. He stood munching a mouthful of hay. "Everybody mount up," ordered Dotty. "It's time to go, Hercules," she said, directly into his ear. The Raggy Doll sat on his neck and held tight to his mane. Dotty turned to Rupert. "Now, you remember the rhyme to make yourself invisible?" "Yeah, no worries. As high as the sky, as deep as the sea, I can see you, but you can't see me, right?" exclaimed the kangaroo. "Now remember, you only have to think it." Just then, the stable door opened. Rupert and the Raggy Dolls quickly thought of the rhyme and disappeared from view. In no time at all, they were loaded onto the horsebox and on their way to the Royal County Show. Jeremy, the Welsh pony, was in the horsebox too. He was most surprised when the Raggy Dolls and Rupert mysteriously reappeared. "Goodness me," he said. "Where on earth did you spring from?" "You look smart," said Sad Sack. "Are you in the heavy horse display too?" Jeremy laughed. "Ha ha! Goodness me, no! I'm far too small, look you. Miss Penelope has entered me in the Pony Club show jumping. She's hoping to win the Junior Cup, you know." The Raggy Dolls listened as Jeremy went on and on about how hard he and Miss Penelope had been practicing, how stiff the competition was going to be, and how lucky they would be to win anything at all. In fact, he didn't stop talking until the horsebox slowed down to turn into the showground. Hercules winked and whispered to Dotty. "You know, there are times when it is a positive advantage to be a little hard of hearing." The horsebox went slowly over some bumps and finally came to a halt. The Raggy Dolls hid, while Hercules was unloaded and taken to a stall next to some other heavy horses. Jeremy was taken somewhere else. As soon as the coast was clear, the Raggy Dolls joined Hercules. It was still quite early in the morning, and the show was not yet open to the general public. "You know," said Back to Front, "I reckon it's safe enough for us to have a look around. I'd quite like to see the big tractors." "I agree," said Dotty. "Everyone looks far too busy to notice us. I'd really like to see the craft exhibits." And so it was decided. They told Hercules of their plans. "Good idea," he said. "Off you go and enjoy yourselves. And thanks for all your help." Claude, Hi-Fi and Back to Front went to see the big tractors. There was an enormous blue one with wheels nearly as tall as the tool shed back at the factory. "Golly," stammered Hi-Fi. "I bet it's really powerful." Lucy, Princess and Dotty visited the craft demonstrations. They had to creep along the back of a long tent and peep under the canvas to see what was going on. A man was busy weaving baskets. He had lots of them, all different sizes and shapes. Nearby, a woman was throwing a big pot on a revolving wheel. Rupert and Sadsack had gone to see the livestock. They tiptoed past an enormous bull who was resting with his eyes closed.
Now that's what I call a bulldozer,
whispered Rupert, pleased with his own joke. Around the corner, there were pens full of different kinds of sheep. In one pen was the woolliest, shaggiest sheep with the curliest horns anyone had ever seen.
Struth!
Exclaimed the kangaroo.
He's an odd-looking blighter, no mistake. Must be a rare breed.
The sheep looked as if it had been to the hairdresser's for a shampoo and set. Ringlets of wool hung over its eyes. "Good-day," said Rupert cheerfully. "Is there anyone at home?" Quite properly, the sheep ignored him.
"Good morning,"
said Sadsack very politely.
"How are you?"
"But," said the sheep. Soon it was time for the Raggy Dolls to meet, as arranged, under the bandstand. They told each other of all the exciting things they had seen. "We ought to make our way to the main ring," said Dotty. "We don't want to miss Hercules and the other heavy horses." "Or Jeremy and Miss Penelope," reminded Lucy. What are we waiting for?" shrugged back to front. The Raggy Dolls quickly found the perfect ringside seat, on top of the steward's marquee. It was as comfortable as a deck chair, and no one could see them behind the fancy fringe. Lots of events took place in the main ring. The Raggy Dolls watched and clapped everything. A military band marched past. Daredevil motorcyclists thrilled the crowd. And parachutists dropped from the sky. At last, it was time for the heavy horse display. The horses and wagons paraded around the ring, and none looked more proud than Hercules, especially when the judges gave him a rosette. Then came the Pony Club show jumping competition. The Raggy Dolls were thrilled when Penelope and Jeremy got a clear round, but so did two other riders. The loudspeakers announced a jump-off.
And first to go is Belinda Fortescue Hay on dumplings. Remember, this is a jump-off against the clock. So, come on, Belinda. No bad luck. That's 4 false first.
The next rider went clear all the way round, until the last fence.
Oh, what rotten luck. That's 4 false for Robin Forbes on Conker. Now, last to go is Penelope Brown on Jeremy.
"Oh, I can't bear it, look," she whimpered.
Now, what's she going to do? Only 4 false to beat. Can she go quicker, or will she take her time and go for a clear? Well, she's certainly not holding it back. Come on, Penny!
She jumped the first fence, clear. The second fence, clear. The third, the fourth, and fifth, all clear. The crowd really began to cheer her on.
And she's down a very fast time. Will she do it? Yes! One to go, and she's slowed right down. She's losing precious time. Now she's got to go clear. Can she do it?
"Come on, Jeremy!" yelled the Raggy Dolls, jumping up and down. The crowd held their breath.
Yes, she's done it. Well done, Penny Brown on Jeremy.
There was much to celebrate on the way home. For once, Jeremy was lost for words. "I don't believe it," was all he could say. Hercules got a very highly commended certificate and a pink rosette.
"Not bad for an old-timer, eh?"
said the proud old cart horse. "I'll say," said Dotty. "Well done."
"Oh, yes,"
said Hercules, nodding in agreement.
"It was great fun, wasn't it?"
It certainly was a day to remember.
Raggy Dolls, dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls, made imperfectly. So if you're not at ease with your knobbly knees and your fingers are all thumbs, stand on your 2 left feet and join our Raggy Doll chums. 'Cause Raggy Dolls are happy just to be Raggy Dolls,